This week on the podcast, I'm wrestling in both Milwaukee and Texas. Chavo Guerrero joins me on some shows. Porn star Jessie Jane is my manager, and my mom, that's a hell of a segue there, my mom watches Mae Young give birth to a hand. Enjoy the show!
This is the Art of Wrestling with professional wrestler Colt Cabana.
All right, how you guys doing? Come on in, sit down, relax. You're about to listen to the Art of Wrestling, a professional wrestling podcast. It's a life podcast. It's personal journal. It's an entry way into the minds and souls, the hearts and lives of the people involved in the world of professional wrestling. I am your host. My name is Colt Cabana. I'm a Midwest boy. I'm a workout boy. I'm a podcaster. I'm an entertainer. Most importantly, though, I am a professional wrestler, and I'm coming to you live from my studio apartment in Chicago, Illinois. Hey, before we go any further, this is a fan-supported and listener-supported podcast supported by people just like you. Give it to you free of charge every single Thursday. ColtCabana.com, Stitcher, SoundCloud, wherever you get your podcasts from. A couple great ways that you could support. Rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes. Tell a friend. Tweet it out. Facebook it out. Instagram story it out. Best way that you could support, ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com. T-shirts, buttons, pictures, posters, DVDs, the Wrestling Road Diaries, documentaries. I got a children's book called Wrestling Dreams. It's all available. Great way to support. ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com. What a fun week of professional wrestling for yours truly. Milwaukee and Texas, very odd. I did 2 shows in Milwaukee, 2 shows in Texas, all very, very different shows. And I think that's the fun part of this kind of life. One minute you're wrestling in China, the next minute you're wrestling in a shitty little bar in a bad part of town in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The first show I did was a Thursday, which is always good as a professional wrestler. You always want to take those gigs. If you're a promoter and you want some of the stars in the world of professional wrestling, if you don't want to go against a lot of the big events or even the comedy or movies or whatever it might be, you put on a Thursday show. You'll always get the talent. And that's what happened with my friend Dysfunction, Kurt Kruger, a.k.a. The Weed Man. I don't know if I should blow his cover, but he runs shop up in Milwaukee. I went to this little show that he ran, and self-admittedly, little show that he ran. It was fun. People were into it. He had a nice little crowd. I think the most fun part for me is seeing the family of Milwaukee wrestlers. One of the first promotions I ever wrestled for was called Mid-American Wrestling. You could see my tryout match with me and Punk in January 2000 at the Knights of Columbus in West Allis, Wisconsin. And there was a crew. There was a Wisconsin crew. And I think the cool thing is that I come and I do a show almost 20 years later, and I see the same guys. I mean, a lot of them aren't in the ring, but they're hanging out. They're part of the community. Colonel Blatnick, Derek St. Holmes, Archangel Vincent was the referee. Barfly Mike is still there hanging out. Scotty DeMarcus. I mean, these are just people that were part of the scene 20 years ago, and they're still part of the scene. And I think that's what's great about wrestling is it's like Cheers. You always have a family. And Dysfunction was like me. He was a young guy in that kind of group of those people that were around, and now he is like the king of this scene, and he's running a show.
Right now you are at a R-rated professional wrestling show where all words are legal except for, obviously, see you next Thursday and things of that extreme nature.
Did you say see you next Thursday?
No.
See you next Tuesday.
And Tuesday, Thursday, well, hey, either or. Tomato, right?
Well, I think that the idea was to explain... it's like I'm doing all different types of shows, and this is the ultimate, like...
Oh, okay. Well, this is an adult show. We completely advertise it as an adult show.
And we're just, like, in this crappy bar in Milwaukee.
It's a crappy bar in Milwaukee. I love it, though. It's very gritty. I have my group of local fellas who come here and work their ass off, and we draw pretty decent, and I'm pretty happy with it, man.
Yeah, it's a packed little, like...
Yeah.
Little place. Like, tomorrow I'm doing Turner Hall.
Sure, yeah, with the Zello, I'm not sure what it's called.
Which is a giant place.
Yeah, that's a huge venue.
And this is the difference between these places.
Yeah, like, for me, I like a smaller scale show. A lot of guys want to try to do big stuff, and I like my small little corner. I get to book it, do what I want, make a little coin, have some fun. I still wrestle, all over Wisconsin. A little bit Illinois, but not much.
Do you like promoting?
A little bit. It's gotten a lot easier now that I have a fan base.
Because I wrestled you as a wrestler.
Oh, yeah. Well, this is my 3rd match, dude. 17 years old.
Well, thanks for putting me on your show.
Hey, man, I love having you. You're one of my boys. He said I've known you since I was, 17? So we have a storied past. And you're one of my favorite people in the whole world. So it's an honor to be on your show. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Love you.
It's Friday morning. I'm still a little jet lagged from the China tour and the Japan tour altogether. So I got up around 6:30, sat around. I went to Denny's, got some breakfast. Now I'm back at my hotel room, and I'm sitting in this travel lodge. It's just a gross hotel. And I decided I didn't want to drive back to Chicago. So I would just use my points and get a hotel. And I just get the cheapest hotel. And I don't understand. I have the points. Instead of 5,000 points, I could use 8,000 points and get like something that's not this disgusting. But I just won't allow myself to do it. I'm a bargain hunter. I have to get the cheapest. I don't know what it says about me, if it's good or bad. I slept with my shirt on because I just didn't want to like touch, and I'm not a germaphobe. I just do not want to touch this bed or this room. But now I'm back in the room because there's a 12 o'clock checkout. And then I'm going to meet up with Silas Young, lift some weights, and then waste some more time and go wrestle tonight at Turner Hall.
Well, I came up in Milwaukee. I stayed in Milwaukee. I said I was going to go see Silas. And like how it works is like, oh, I'm in a local town of a guy who lives here. And I'll be like, oh, I can get a free gym workout, which Silas will attest to is something you do. And if you're Colt Cabana, you definitely do because you don't want to pay for a gym workout, right?
Absolutely, especially when you're the cheapest man in pro wrestling, apparently.
And I just talked about not getting a nice hotel, and I stayed at that Travelodge. It was.
I think that might be like one of the prostitute hotels in town, possibly.
Is it a known one?
I think so. Like, there's definitely cops there, and I think I've seen it on the news for prostitution bust before. So,
no wonder it was so cheap. So, you're the last real man.
yeah.
And when he said, "Oh, come to Brickyard Gym," and this is what I show up to. I mean, can you explain this place to us?
I mean, this is like the type of gym that you would see on an '80s movie, like in like a '80s Rocky, little montage leading up to the fight training scene type thing. It's the equipment is most definitely from the 1970s, possibly older.
Yeah, because I was in high school '94 to '98. And it just reminds me of the gym equipment that was in our high school, which was probably not new gym equipment.
Right.
So this kind of threw me back to my like teenage years a little bit.
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I don't know if you noticed the mats over there, but I mean, people always comment here about, why doesn't the owner buy new mats? And I said, well, those are new. They're new to us. But I mean, they honestly are probably like the oldest gym mats ever. Like, they probably got thrown out by some school like 20 years ago, and he somehow got his hands on them.
Which I can appreciate also. Like, I walked in here, no one was checking. Do you work here?
I mean, I'm not technically an employee, but I've like trained people out of here for like the last 10, 11, 12 years. So the guy that owns the place, like, if you look up on the wall, he has like his hours, and it's really ridiculous. It's like I get here around 7 a.m. on weekdays and at 8 a.m. on Saturdays. I leave for lunch as early as 10:30 or 11, depending on when Paulie gets here. Like, I mean, this guy, like, literally, like, he was for the last month was like in Florida and then went to Europe, and he just like has people that open the place and close the place, and like it just.
How does he do business?
So I've asked him before. I said, don't you worry about people stealing? And he said, well, I figure if I have to pay an employee, it's going to cost me more to pay an employee than what I'm going to lose in stolen product.
There's literally no one who works here.
There's no one that works here. There's no employees. Yeah, like he just depends on guys like me or like this Dave guy over here who train people here to like just kind of watch the place. So
it's unreal.
Yeah. But I mean, at the same time, he lets us train people out of here for free too, which is unheard of,
So this place is such a throwback, and it's not little. It's a big place, and not downtown Milwaukee, but kind of.
It's like it's Bayview. It's like the hipster neighborhood, one of the hipper areas in Milwaukee. So yeah.
That's pretty crazy. Well, thanks for the workout.
Yeah, of course, anytime, man.
Obviously.
I was going to go do something productive after I worked out, but I remember that the show was across the street from where the Milwaukee Bucks play professional basketball, and there was a playoff game. So I knew that parking was going to be like $60. I saw some signs later, $50, $60, $75 for parking, which is just ridiculous. But I remember wrestling there before for Ring of Honor, and there was some good street parking, but you had to get there kind of early. So I think the theme of this show, cheap old me, I went there early. It was a metered spot. You can only be at the meter for 2 hours. I got there 2.5 hours early, so I just sat in my car a little bit and then put $3 in the meter, and I was good to go for the night. Another trick of the trade from old Cabana. Got to the Zello Pro show. A lot of people there. Hey, the cool thing about Zello Pro is they're really, really emphasizing women's wrestling. I can't hate on that. The 2 shows I've been there, the women have main evented the show, and I'm going to do another show in Chicago for them, May 20th at Joe's on Weed, and I'm hoping women headlined that one also. I got an opportunity to see my friend Chelsea Greene, who is partners with Zack Ryder, and I follow Zack Ryder on Instagram, and I had to ask Chelsea about this new lifestyle that she's seemed to pick up.
Chelsea, I want to know.
My dirty secrets?
No, I mean, I guess this will only work for people that follow your boyfriend's Instagram. But
Which is a lot of people.
a lot of people. But I just see you going to all these places. Tell me about
Life's good as
tell me
Mrs.
about
Ryder.
Disneyland.
Oh, Disneyland. Okay, I'm telling you, like,
Tell me about these figures. Do you know anything about these figures?
well, I do now. You have to. Once you're surrounded by them, it's like a freaking nightmare. You wake up, they're there. Go to sleep, they're
Did you get
there.
an Impact figure?
No, but people make me them. And then
Has he collected?
yes.
Are
Oh
they
yeah.
in the case? The
No,
cabinet?
they play beside each other. Like his figure and my figure, they are standing
Does he
next
do
to each
weddings?
other. Yes, he does it all. Are you kidding me? We have weddings in the rings that he buys.
Yeah.
We now have a 7-foot tall Han Solo sculpture in our front entrance, so that's really, it's absolutely terrifying. Great thing to walk into when
How
it's
many
dark
times have
out.
you gone to
This month?
Disney? Yeah.
This month, like 4 times.
I'm like, hi, Chelsea.
No, they're like, oh my God, hi Zach, and oh hi, Zach's girlfriend.
Who's Snow White says this?
Yeah, they all loved him. They called him Prince Charming and something about his scruff. They made nicknames up. Like, yeah, I'll have to ask him. It was innovative.
Were you obsessed with anything as a kid?
Not like this. No, I don't think anyone's obsessed like this. I was obsessed with like going outside and playing in the dirt, like kick the can and stuff, not collecting 10,000 figures and then at 32 years old continuing to collect those figures. He sold and resold his figures.
I mean, I remember in OVW when he had all the LJNs, and then he had to rebuy all the
Yes.
LJNs.
Yes, that's like his thing.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
Now you're in it. You're all informed.
No, I'm in deep.
Yeah.
There's no going back. Now I set them up. I unbox them. I put them up. I make sure that they're in line on the shelf.
But you didn't even play with these things as a kid.
No, God, no.
No.
I don't know a thing about them.
Oh my
What?
God.
Aside
Well,
from there's a man that costs a lot of money who has yellow pants, and then another man who costs a lot of money who has green pants.
Well, that's a variance. Don't you know about the variants now?
Yes.
All right.
Yes, I've learned quickly.
Well, I mean, it's fun to watch.
It's fun to watch.
Thank
It's not
you.
fun for me. Oh God, what a life I live.
Hey, that show was a loaded show. I wrestled Robbie E. That was very fun. We were the opener, in and out. A girl from high school showed up. I didn't know she was going to show up. And I normally don't really tell people I know from like my childhood about shows I'm doing, especially if I don't know if anyone's going to be there. And very early, it was a very light house. And I was very scared that she's going to be like, oh, this is what he's doing, almost 38 years old with his life. But eventually it filled up, and it was a very nice crowd, and I had a very nice match with Robbie E. Like I said, it was a loaded show. DJ Z was also there, and you'd think, DJ Z, how are your injuries coming along? I hope well. The answer is no, they are not.
Tell me what's wrong with you now.
I don't know. I'm falling apart.
Let's hear the list. Last time you were on, you recovered after being in Mexico. And
I mean, okay. Put it this way. I went like 14 years with never getting injured in wrestling, and in the last 2 years, I've had about 14 years worth of injuries in those last 2
in our
years,
podcast,
yeah.
we celebrated that you were back.
Yeah, I know.
You weren't going to be. You were fresh.
Yeah.
You're going to pay the hospital bills forever.
Yeah, pretty much.
But now, what? Give me the list.
Okay, so back in December, I ruptured 4 discs in my neck, so I had to sit out for 2 months. Came back. Neck wasn't even fully healed, and I came back because I got bills to pay. And I don't know, man. Last week I did a tope con hilo over the ropes, and my back just gave out. So I got a pinched nerve in my lower back, and then tonight I got dropped on my neck, and now my neck's hurting. Thanks for the biofreeze, by the way.
What do you think the next thing's going to be?
I'm hoping there is no more next
Come on,
thing.
you know there's going to be.
No, there's not, man.
Toes. Your nose.
Nothing. I'm playing it safe now. I'm sorry, guys. No more crazy stunts and high flying stuff. I'm taking it easy now, guys.
All right, good luck to you and your body.
Thanks, Colt.
It's 11:45. I've left the show. It was a fun show. I have to drive back to Chicago tonight from Milwaukee. It's about an hour and a half drive, so I'll probably get home around 1 o'clock. Then I have to get up for a 10 o'clock flight to Dallas, Texas tomorrow morning. I'm already extremely tired right now. Like I said, I woke up at about 6 a.m. When I was younger, I couldn't fathom the idea of driving alone. Always needed a road partner, always needed somebody. But now I love the idea of driving alone. Oh, it's the best. I don't want anyone bothering me. I can stop whenever I want. Hey, look at me. I'm a grown up. I can do whatever I want. Life on the road by yourself. A lot of people would just get into some debaucherous stuff, but for me, that's like eating a whole bag of popcorn, which I'm not going to do because we're staying healthy. I eventually got home. I had to do a quick little pack. I also had to do my Colt merch. There was some people that needed some packages. I had to ship them out. So I did the packaging, I did the stamps, and I put them by my mailbox. And then that was it. That was all I had to do. And luckily, I could do that because of Stamps.com. And they are a sponsor on the show today. But they are an everyday use in my life. I mean, everything is on demand these days. Our wrestling, even our radio, like right now, this very podcast. And you should be doing the same thing with your postage with Stamps.com. Stamps.com has all the amazing services of the post office, but it's right in front of you at your desk 24/7. Buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter or package using your own computer and printer. Click, print, mail, and you're done. Like I said, the mail person will literally pick it up in front of your door. I have been using them way before they even became a sponsor, which actually makes them the perfect sponsor. I started my little Colt merch biz, and I needed to stop going to the post office every day. Now I don't, and you shouldn't either. Right now, use the code COLT for up to $55 in free postage, a digital scale, and a 4-week trial. Just go to Stamps.com. Before you do anything else, click on the radio microphone at the top of the homepage and type in COLT. That's Stamps.com. Enter in COLT. The merch part was easy, thanks to Stamps.com. The packing was easy. Getting up in the morning wasn't the easiest, but I did it. And I was heading to Dallas, Texas, for a Dallas Denton shot for Imperial Wrestling Revolution. I was excited. I knew the Von Erich boys were going to be on the show, Marshall and Russ, who I had toured with in Pro Wrestling Noah in Japan. And they live in Hawaii, but sometimes they come to Texas to do a little wrestling, and they go to Israel, too. But Texas is where that Von Erich legacy holds true. And we get to the building, the very first building, and it's a very funny building. It's an interesting building. And instead of myself describing it, I'll let Eugene describe it for you.
We are deep in the heart of Texas. We are in Dallas, not far from where the Sportatorium used to be.
Yeah, but tell me about this place.
This building looks like Christmas lights all over the ceiling, and it looks like we're on the set of Hee Haw. I feel like there should be some kind of woman in a funky hat and like some banjos playing or something, and there's a sign for the most wanted in the West over there. We got a barn over here. We got
Did you see
Grand
this
Old Opry.
human diorama over here?
Yes, I saw that, and William H. Bonney still wanted here. If we find him, we could get $1,000.
I feel this is like off the set of Six Flags Great America. I guess the idea is, or at least for my show, is the appreciation of independent wrestling. I mean, I feel this like sums it up.
This is a really great place. The energy in here is to the roof. You know, the barn doors are getting ready to blow open over here. I mean, we got Meemaw over there selling her canned goods. I mean, this is the place to be if you're in the north central Dallas metropolitan area. You know, Dallas is the 4th most populous city in the country.
I did not know that.
And it has the, it's the 9th most populous city in the country.
You were way off.
It has the 4th largest LGBT community.
Very nice.
Yes.
And then to sum off the southernness of this, Jim Ross is just sitting in the corner, isn't he?
Yes, yes. Yeehaw.
There it is.
By damn. By God, by damn, by God. That woman's got a family.
The show was fun. A lot of stars on that show. Trevor Murdoch was there. Jim Ross was there. And Jim Ross, I think because it was a drive, had more bottles of barbecue sauce than I had ever seen in my entire life. What a display he had. I should have taken a picture. I didn't take a picture. I wrestled a guy named Malico, who's been doing it a couple years on the Texas scene. He dresses like kind of like a demented clown, kind of crazy, but I think he's an interesting character. There's so many characters in wrestling. I think that's the key to this podcast, and what I've learned over the years is how different we are from everybody. And I thought I'd talk to Malico to tell his own story.
So I was actually just born with one leg. So it's something that I don't use in the gimmick or anything like that. But I grew up a really big fan of The Undertaker and Jeff Hardy and very enigmatic characters and things like that.
And you're always jealous of their 2 legs?
Obviously, yeah. And they have 2 feet.
Oh,
what are you going to do with that? Yeah.
Yeah, that's one thing. I always want to drop the tombstone, but my knees aren't level, so I'm like, I'm not doing that. I'll kill somebody. Yeah.
Going to train and wrestle, you were like, yeah, I could do this.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, Zach Gowen was in there when I was a kid, so I saw this guy who didn't have a leg at the hip, and I have most of my other leg. I'm just missing a little bit below the knee, so I was already just like, oh, I'm already ahead of the game on him. But yeah, I'm the youngest of 6, so I grew up with brothers that they never held back on me. And being fans of wrestling, we were super kicking frying pans in each other's teeth and things like that, so I never really thought, like, I can't do this because of my leg, because I played football growing up, I wrestled in high school, did all those things.
For me, it was like, when I saw Barry Horowitz, Jewish wrestler, I was like, wait, Jews can be pro wrestlers.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah, it was the same thing.
I always felt that kind of clicked with me.
Yeah, but I wouldn't call him an inspiration, more as like a realization.
Yeah.
I just grew up to really learn how to use it as an advantage, and sports entertainment, a guy who can move like I can with one leg, like, that's my calling. So, and it's something, I'm going to use it down the road. I haven't used it yet. I have a lot of plans for it. I actually have a whole secondary moveset for when I take it off that just really fits with the gimmick.
The second half of your career.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Just whenever I decide to pull the trigger on it. But I really want to establish myself as a performer before I fall back on that, because I don't want to be known as the one-legged guy like Zach Gowen was. I want to be known as a phenomenal wrestler, and they're like, oh yeah, that guy also has one leg.
Malico and I did eventually wrestle that night. And before we were going out, for some reason, I don't know what the reason is, Jessie Jane, who is a porn star, an adult film actress, was meant to do some promo with Jim Ross in the very beginning. Well, she came late. She didn't make it. And they were wondering what to do with her. And Chavo actually came up to me. He's like, can you use her as your manager? And I was like, I guess. Hold on. Wait, I'm going to talk to her in a second. But this is the perfect segue for a promo, because Mother's Day is coming up. And I am the worst. I usually get my mom a gift card, which has to be the worst present of all time. But things are going to change now because Sherry's Berries is on board. I'm pretty sure Stone Cold's famous for saying Sherry's Berries, right? Well, now Colt Cabana's saying it. Fresh, juicy strawberries dipped in milk, dark and white chocolatey goodness, then topped with rich chocolate chips, chopped nuts, and signature swirls. Oh my God, that sounds good. Oh no, they also have other treats like cake pops, strawberry cheesecake bites, and artisanal chocolate truffles, all with your mom in mind. Whew. And just because you're a listener, starting at $19.99 plus shipping and handling, or you could double those berries for just $10 more. Save on gift wrapping too, because they'll arrive in Sherry's Berries signature gift box with a beautiful ribbon. Mother's Day is May 13th. Don't forget that. What an easy way to get that present done with. Go to berries.com. That's BERRIES.com. Then click on the mic in the upper right-hand corner and enter my code COLT. That's freshly dipped strawberries starting at $19.99 plus shipping and handling, or even double them for $10 more. Berries.com. Use that code COLT. Jessie Jane is a mother. I know that. I did bring her out as my manager, and I did say Jessie James, which I think says a lot about me, that I'm not one of these people who have seen a million of her movies. I think I've seen her. She looked familiar, but I thought her name was Jessie James. It was Jessie Jane. But I think by saying Jessie James on the microphone really fast, nobody knew. I don't think she knew. You can tell by this bubbly personality that she's just there for a good time, and she was.
Hey, you were great.
Thanks. It was fun.
How did you know what to do?
Well, you know what? Y'all kind of told me. No, I'm just kidding.
No, but
no, I just kind of went with the flow. I felt like what you guys were doing, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna do my thing and ad lib and fill it out.
You were a natural.
Starting seeing if I can get this.
Yeah, you were a natural.
Thanks.
You got all the beats and stuff.
Thank
you. You got it.
Thanks.
What are you doing here?
Huh? You know what?
What do you know about wrestling? What's going on?
You know
here?
what? I do like wrestling. I am a fan fan of wrestling, but Justin Roberts is one of my good friends, and I kind of got into that world. And then I met Jerry, and they're like, "Hey, what do you think about trying to do it?" And I was like, "You know what? I would love to try it. I think it'd be rad." So.
And you're having fun with these little shows.
Oh my God, this is so much fun, and everybody's so cool and fun. So I'm like, oh yeah. I was like, it's on.
I love it. Welcome to indie wrestling.
Thank you.
You should come around more.
I'm coming around more. I plan on coming in here.
Oh, that was a bad play on words. I don't even know if you meant it.
See, I just spit it out. I don't even know I'm doing it.
All right, keep coming around.
Keep coming around.
The next day, there was one last show, a Sunday show in Denton, Texas. Now, when I think of Denton, Texas, there's a Mountain Goat song that I really like, but I guess most wrestling fans think of the Von Erichs or even Stone Cold, I think went to college in Denton, Texas. Either way, it was at the Denton Skate Park where Marshall Von Erich told me he got skate lessons as a kid, and now he was wrestling in front of 100 people. And it was fun. It was a very fun show, and I thought we'd close off this Texas chapter with a talk from Chavo Guerrero, from the legendary Texas Guerreros.
You know what, man? What it is it's just we're from Texas. Guerreros. There's not a lot of Guerreros from Texas. Von Erichs from Texas. Von Erichs aren't very active too much anymore. So really, I mean, it's kind of us sometimes, you know. So Shawn Michaels from San Antonio, and you got Austin from that area, but not at family lineage. You know what I mean? So when I come to Texas, I got people that were my fans. I got people coming up to my dad's and my uncle's fans. I got people that are older that were my grandfather's fans. And then you got all these different generations. Then you got young kids that, we saw Vicky so and so place. So it spans a lot different of the generations.
Dude, like in my head, you, and I'm probably wrong. I listen to your Marin podcast, but it always passes me. I forget everything.
Sure, yeah, I got it.
Like
you're a wrestler. Yeah, 2 minute bumps ahead. But wrestling's fake, and there's no concussions.
Oh,
I got it. Yeah.
Some people talk to me about how I'll not slur my words, but I'll forget sentences, and I'll be like, "Yeah, you got to remember, for 20 years now, I've slammed my head against the mat."
Yeah, exactly, man. I mean, they say every time even those little stars that you see, is a slight concussion. I mean, how many times?
I thought they were talking about me.
Well, us too. All the stars, yeah. But how many times has that happened to you? Hundreds, thousands. Yeah, well, those are little concussions, man.
Cut me some slack when I forget a word.
Exactly. Yeah,
right?
for sure, man.
I can't think of a question. No, but in my head, you started in WCW. And I don't know if that's right.
I did. Well, I mean, I did a little bit of indie stuff. Very, very, very slight.
The idea of doing these matches, these little crappy shows in El Paso or whatever.
I did. And now when I first started, I debuted in '93, but I didn't start wrestling again. I wrestled once or twice here. And I started training with my Uncle Mondo in Anaheim. Then I'd go to TJ and wrestle here and there with Rey Mysterio's uncle. Here and there, but then in '95 is when I quit everything and moved to El Paso, Texas, moved back to El Paso and started living with Eddie and started really, really training. And then 10 months later, I was in WCW.
Gotcha. So you did 10 months of would you go to the little crappy shows?
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we would wrestle.
Did you go to Denton?
No. I was wrestling in either anywhere in El Paso, but I wrestled across the border in Juarez, Mexico. There's a bunch of little spot shows down there. And sometimes, I remember one time I wrestled in front of must have been 15 people, and I was kind of pissed. I was like, 15, man, I shouldn't be wrestling here. And then Eddie brought me aside, typical Greene boy. Eddie pulled me aside and he goes, who the F do you think you are? And I'm like, well, and he's like, just work. You need experience. I don't care if it's in front of 1,000 people or 15 people. Wrestle. And that made me realize, yeah, he's right. When you think you know everything, and then you...
especially coming from the family with your...
Yeah,
your family.
Yeah, sure. And especially in that area, that's where we were from and trained, and everybody knows us from that area. So then I got the mentality of, man, I just wrestle, and I'd take every show that I could, and just experience every time. And you look back at those little shows, and there's sometimes, it was a crappy show and nothing, but every once in a while, I was like, I learned a super valuable lesson at that show.
Who were the king of the Texas indie shows at that time? Who was on top?
Well, see that we're Mexico, so we were across the border. It'd be like this guy named Cinta de Oro, which means gold belt. They'd always bring guys, in like main stars and stuff, but for the most part, it was just the local, the indie scene there. If you remember, there's Exotico wrestler named Cassandro.
Of course I remember.
He's great. He's awesome. But that's when he kind of started. He was in one of my second matches together, But he was already established. So he's been around. That guy's been around for a long time.
And selfishly, I didn't want to just talk about Texas wrestling with Chavo. I wanted to talk about Glow. I love the show, and I think it's so cool that he's involved with the show and that he taught all those women to wrestle.
Like, I love comedy podcasts, so I'll listen to, like, all these girls are on all the different podcasts.
Sure.
And they're talking about training and getting in there. And
I heard Allison Brie one time say, and she was on a podcast, and this is, after we filmed the first season, and I know they loved and respect wrestling. And they knew nothing about wrestling. They're not even really were athletes, but the empowerment that we give them with our training, and we get them to pick girls up, and we get tears daily because they're like, we never knew we could be this strong. It's different than regular training. Like we were trained, listen, asshole, I kick the shit out of you. But, for Glow, we try to get them to love wrestling because I didn't want them to hate wrestling. It's, this is, they're actresses. We got to know what this is. They're wrestling in a scene. They're not wrestling in WrestleMania. So, when I first saw Allison Brie, I heard her do a podcast or interview, and somebody said, "Oh, so wrestling's fake, right?" And she was like, "Oh, no, that's the wrong terminology. It's not fake. It's entertainment, sure, I get it, but it's not. It's real. We're really falling, we're bumping." And I was like, "Yes, those are my girls."
Mixing the worlds, acting, comedy, wrestling. Glow, it's the perfect show. Season 2 comes out soon. Not a paid advertisement. Maybe they should pay me to advertise them. And my mom wants me to pay her because she thinks she's getting famous by answering all these questions. And this week she does answer a question about the birth of Mae Young's hand. And we'll hear that right after some plugs and
upcoming events.
All right, the best way that you can support ColtMerch.com, DigitalColt.com, Twitter and Instagram at Colt Cabana, Facebook /AOW Podcast, also /Colt Cabana. My storytelling podcast, Pro Wrestling Fringe, plus past archives of this show. They're ad-free. They're on StitcherPremium.com /Colt. Use the code COLT, get a free month. ColtWrestling@gmail.com is my very public email. Maybe a promoter want to put me on your upcoming show or convention. I have a YouTube channel. I also have a website, ColtCabana.com. You can send me something on my P.O. box, and I would really appreciate it. Upcoming Friday and Saturday, April 27th and 28th. West Palm Beach and Lakeland, Florida, doing commentary for ROHWrestling.com. May 4th, Brooklyn, New York, WrestleProOnline.com. May 5th, I'm doing a training camp along with Tom Pritchard, Pat Buck, and Rip Rogers. That will be in Rahway, New Jersey at WrestleProOnline.com. May 9th, 11th, 12th, and 13th, Boston, Toronto, Detroit, and Chicagoland doing commentary, ROHWrestling.com. Saturday, May 19th, Nashville, Tennessee, Facebook /OverdriveProTN. Sunday, May 20th, Chicago, Illinois, ZelloPro.com. Friday, May 25th, Marionette, Illinois, AAWrestling.com. Saturday, June 9th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, ChikaraPro.com. Intro music today by the Ukulele Teacher on YouTube. Outro music by Superfun, Yeah, Rocket Ship. Podcast cover art designed by Jimmy Lee and photo by James Musselwhite. Huge thanks for coming on the show this week. Dysfunction, Silas Young, Chelsea Greene, DJ Z, Eugene Malico, Chavo Guerrero, and adult film star Jesse Jane. And let's thank our sponsors, HighSpots.com, a VOD service that's amazing, a best friends show that I'll be on soon with Marty DeRosa, AMA knee pads, gear, mask, a wrestling ring if you need it. Also, OneHourTees.com. They help run ProWrestlingTees.com. That's where you can support your favorite independent wrestler directly. All right. Hashtag AskCabanaMom. Just tweet me at Colt Cabana with the hashtag AskCabanaMom and ask something you'd want to know. I can send her pictures or short videos, but please, she's not going to know the history of professional wrestling. She'll just know what she sees. So ask smart, be creative. This week, at the Cody Masters says to my mom, when I was younger, I saw Mae Young give birth to a hand. How is that possible? ? So I made her watch it, and here's her reaction.
Hello, it's Mama Cabana from her studio apartment in blistering heat in Scottsdale, Arizona. I was asked to watch this hilarious video of Mae Young giving birth. And I have to say, the only birth I have ever watched was probably farm animals and possibly the birth of my own 2 children, one being Colt Cabana. I have a question. Was there a birth certificate? Was it male or female? A good name for a male would be Handsome. I have to say there was very unsanitary conditions there. All those people, no gloves, You just wouldn't see that today. There wasn't even a doctor. Was it a midwife? Or was it a mid-husband? And was someone giving her a hand job? She must have been a cougar, because she was 48 years older than Mark Henry. What was he thinking? Or what was she thinking, to be perfectly honest with you? And what was she wearing? I didn't get it. On the way to give birth, she was wearing a dress with glitters. Looks like she was on her way to a wedding, or was that her old prom dress, or was she going her wrestling gig? It just seemed very inappropriate to be having surgery or giving birth in that type of outfit. But wrestlers do their own thing, I guess. And so that's it. Being the mom of a wrestler, I get it. So, signing off, Mama Cabana, until we meet again. Thanks.
Farm animals. Where does... Oh, bless her heart. Thanks for watching that. Not many did at the time, and not many want to now. All right, this has been The Art of Wrestling. For Colt Cabana, I'm Colt Cabana. Thanks.
End it right. I couldn't remember if I said she was a cougar. I did. Okay. I gotta start over. Okay. Oh, I like her. Was a hand job being performed.